I bought this pair of shorts a few weeks ago and I really like them. I've been looking for a pair of overall shorts for a little over a year now, checking the thrift shops and stuff, but I haven't been able to find anything. And I actually found these ones at TJ Maxx and I really like them. The only thing is they're pretty short. There's about a 2-inch inseam on them, and the inseam is from that center seam there to the bottom. That's the inseam. So this is about a 2-inch inseam. I tried them on before I bought them. They didn't seem that bad, so I got them. And I wore them one day and they were really good until I sat down. And I'm like, whoa, okay, really short. So I'm going to make them a little bit longer. Now, you can see that they've got the folded over cuff here, and I've already taken it out, but all they had was on the edge here, they had one little seam there to tack it down. And tacking is just when you put a quick couple of stitches just to hold the fabric in place. And there was one on the outside and the inside where the seams were on each leg, so you couldn't see them. So I have already taken those out. That's the back. There's the front. So if you fold them out, unfold them rather, I guess, makes them quite a bit longer already. And if you don't want the cuff, then there you go. That gives you like 4-inch roughly inseam. So if you wanted, you could just undo that and call it good. It makes it quite a bit longer. But I really like the look of the cuff, and I'd like to give it a couple more inches just so I don't have to be self-conscious about it when I'm sitting down or bending over. So that's what we're gonna do. I want to get these folds ironed out just to make it easier to work with while I'm cutting and sewing. The tag says 79% cotton, 20% polyester, 1% spandex. So I've got my iron set to pretty high. You always want to set it to the highest fabric content, but I moved it back a little bit just to protect the polyester. So the last thing to get those shorts ready is they have this seam here on both sides. I'm just going to take that out about a 1/2 inch up to give me something to attach this to, a little space to work with. These ones are serged, which means it's got that stitching around the side there to really wrap it up and keep the loose threads in. It's kind of a pain in the butt to rip out, but okay, so the seams are open. Did both pant legs. So now what I'm going to do is measure and see how wide I need my two pieces to be. Start right at the edge of the fabric. Go right to this side. 10.5. So the front one needs to be 10.5 inches wide. Okay, I couldn't do it with one hand, but the back is going to be 15.5. Now I want the cuff overall to be about 1.5 inches, I think. So 1.5 inches, double that because the cuff's going to be folded over. That'll give me 3 inches, and then I think I'm going to make it 4 inches just to give a little extra, because there'll be a little extra for the seam there, and I can always trim this down after, but it'll be harder to add. So I'll make one panel 4 inches by 10.5. I'll make a second panel that's 4 inches by 15.5. I'll actually make 2 of each so I can do each leg. Okay, you can just go to the store and buy denim if you can't get a hold of any, but I have some old jeans that have worn out, so I'm just going to take it out of this. I'm going to take the smaller panel off the front because it's smaller, and I'm going to take my bigger panel off the back because it's more likely to fit, and I'll get the measurements that I need out of that. Okay, so I have my piece mostly marked out. I ended up making this piece, instead of 10.5 by 4, I'm going to do 11 by 5 just to give myself some extra wiggle room. Some projects it matters, this one doesn't. I'll show you later on. So I marked this one, and where's my measure? There. You can see it's 5 inches there. 5 inches. 5 inches. And you can see I had my first line off, so I fixed it. So that's 5 inches deep by 11. I'll mark this side out and then cut it out. Okay, so this is the piece I have cut out. Got both of them. I've just been using regular crafting chalk to mark them. It'll wash right out. Now, if you can tell, this side gets a little narrow. If I line this up, and that's one of the reasons I gave myself an extra inch, so that I'll be able to square it up and still get the full 4 inches that I want. Sorry about the traffic. So that's that. Now on the back of it, there's not going to be a full 15 inches for me to do it this way, so I'm going to have to do it this way, which I wanted to keep the grain going in the same direction, the grain of the fabric, but doesn't look like that's going to happen, so I'll have to turn it. But I think where it's the back panel, and I'm only going to be seeing the reverse of this, I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. Okay, so I got those two pieces a little more squared up. Now I'm going to trace them onto here and cut them out. I'd wanted to do them this way, make the most of my fabric, but I can't quite fit them both. So we'll do it this way. So I almost made a mistake there. I was going to cut out the same thing here, but I realized no, this one's 11 inches and I want it to be the 15.5. I'm going to round that to the 16, so I want this one to be roughly 5 inches by 16 inches. I almost cut it too short, so I'll have to take this one either out of the back of this pant leg or to the same spot in the other pant leg. So I went to bed last night and I was thinking through everything that I had done on my shorts and what I had left to do, and I realized I made a mistake. I wanted the cuff to be about 1.5 inches, and so I doubled that because the cuff is folded over, and I realized after that I wanted it's going to be folded over twice, so I should have tripled that number. So for 1.5 inch cuff, instead of doing 3 inches, I should have done 4.5 inches. So I didn't make that quite big enough, but fortunately I gave myself some extra fabric to work with because this kind of thing happens to me a lot. So it should be okay. My cuff might not be quite as wide as I want, but it'll be fine. So this is my cow. He's pretty cool. Back to the shorts. So I've got my 4 pieces here. I'm just going to put the 2 right sides together. Over here, I'm gonna pin it. Just like that. Now, my shorts have some stretch to them. This does not. But I think it'll be okay because it's not a spot that's stretchy. Like, I don't need it to stretch. And it's only going to be the cuff. So I think it'll be okay. but I want to make sure to not stretch the stretchy one while I'm pinning them together. Don't know if you can even see what I'm doing here. Same thing, line it up, don't stretch the shorts any. So there's those two ready to sew. I might actually end up going with white because the seams aren't really going to show. And there is white woven into this. Ooh, here's something good. That's a bit old. But this is good because I might actually put this in after, because it's pretty close match to the top stitching. So I'm going to keep that one out. Let's go load this into the machine. And the panels are attached now. Got the fronts and the backs both attached. So what I'm gonna do now is trim off the extra that I have on the sides. Might have a little bit there. I'll trim the sides up, and then I'm going to sew up probably just the inside ones so that this is one long piece. And then what I'm gonna do is just stitch along this edge from here through the seam to the back. And stitching through that's just gonna help keep all of this from coming loose and undone. Like you can see on the previous, like on the original seam, they have that serged on the end there to wrap it up, keep it in. So that's basically what I'm gonna do on that bottom edge after I sew one seam. I plug the iron back in and I press these seams down. I sewed up the two insides. I trimmed down all of the extra. And then I did this. I used a bit of a fancy stitch because my sewing machine could do that, and I thought it would help lock all of those loose threads in, so when I throw these in the wash, this isn't all going to come shredded. And I went on one side, through the seam, back around to the other side. I did that on both pant legs, and very close to done now. So I used a bit of a fancy stitch on mine just because I felt like it would help to lock everything in better. If your machine can't do that, just a straight stitch will work fine. You can go over it once or twice. If you were doing this by hand, go to the dollar store, pick up just a little bottle of clear nail polish, and just put that right along the edge of your seam, and that's going to just glue everything down. Where this is going to be folded into the fabric, like into the cuff, and it's not going to touch your skin, it's not going to bother anything. Just remember, if you're using that nail polish to seal it, it is going to be like a scratchy, it's going to be scratchy when it dries. Just to keep that in mind if you're going to do this for any other projects or anything like that. I have sewn up the outside edge, and I think that's it. Just gonna turn these right side out. And I had that gold thread saved out that I found earlier. Later on, I might take that and just kind of continue this stitch down to reinforce the sides. But it's not going to show with the cuff, so I might not do that. We'll fold that up a little bit. And then when you do the second fold, you just want to make sure it's covering that seam. Put that up a little bit. So this one's on the inside, it's covered on the outside. I don't know how well you can see it, but this line right here was the original bottom. That was how long they were. So I've been able to add 3 inches. And I'll get the iron out and I'll just kind of press those down, straighten them out and everything. But yeah, pretty happy with it. And if you want to, you can go ahead and do like a couple of stitches right here, just like it was originally, and that'll kind of help keep it down and keep it from coming unfolded. But I don't mind folding them up when I wear them. So, yeah. So that's how you take a pair of shorts and you make them longer. You don't have to do it with overalls, it's just what I had. You can do it with regular shorts. You can add a cuff to any regular shorts too. Just take out the seam, the hem at the bottom, and just go from there. You can attach a cuff that way. You can do it on pants if they're a little too short. You could, instead of adding the cuff or something, you could add lace to it, different fabric, whatever you want to do. If you have any questions or you think you want to give this a try, go ahead and leave me a comment. If you enjoyed this video, want to see what I get up to next, then like this video, subscribe, hit the bell, turn on notifications, all that, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.